Everyone, welcome to the new year and welcome to our FogCutter Live. I'm Mike Curtis here with Preston James, founder of Traders Edge Network. Preston, like always, tons to talk about today, and we've got a fun one to kick off the new year. So say hello, we'll dive in.
Yeah, it's great being with you. I'm here in Southern California. It's been so rainy, like day and night. I got bored, Mike. I shaved my face. It wasn't to look like you. It's just I was bored. Couldn't do anything else. But it's sunny today, so here we
There you
are.
go. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
we're starting this week, kind of our full trading week, right? Over the new year, we had two holiday shortened weeks with Christmas
Oh,
and then New Year's. So we're kind of back. This is our first normal trading week and starting things off in the green. So, Preston, I know we've got some economic announcements this week to talk about. Pretty light earnings week, but let's just step back for a minute and talk how this first week can kind of set the tone really for the rest of the year. They have what they call the first 5 days indicator, which I know you're familiar with, but
mhm.
just to kind of bring everyone up to speed, how these first five trading days of January perform.
Mhm.
I think it's something like an 82% likelihood is how the rest of the year ends up performing. I don't have my book in front of me at the exact number, but going off of memory. So we're really in our second full trading day of the year. So fun to kind of watch how, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday play out and see if we can get that first 5 day January indicator that can really kind of set the tone for the rest of the year.
Right. And like we were saying, we're both away from the land office. We've got our little almanacs and things there. But and it's not every day that it has to be higher, 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 higher,
Right.
5 days in a row. I mean, I think it's just getting the tone set, and is the market higher after those first 5 days
Yep,
versus
it could
not?
be by a couple points, and that
Yeah.
notches. Yep, we're higher. Covered those first 5 days in some positive territory, and that can set the tone. And then there's also another one. I mean, we're barely into January, but also how the entire month of January performs. Again, if we're just in that positive, slightly green territory for the entire month, can historically sets a positive, strong tone for the rest of the year. Now, will there be ups and downs? Of course. Will there be a correction in the mix? That 10% correction, Preston, you talk about all the time. Absolutely. We'll see that at some point throughout the year. But yeah, it can be a positive sign for the markets. So keep an eye on that. Again, it's those first 5 trading days of January, and then we'll see how the entire month of January performs. But just a couple of those little indicators to keep an eye on. So, Preston, outside of that, what else do you have your eye on as far as earnings, economic front to kick off this new year of trading?
Well, you could say we had a rather large surprise factor in general over the weekend with, of course, the ouster of the Venezuelan dictator. And this is the first time, Mike, the market's been able to respond.
Right.
And I always love days like this to just see where the money is reacting.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's mostly by institutions, right? Because we
Right.
know about 80% of the volume we see anymore, like it or not, it just is what it is. It comes from the institutional. This is the hedge funds, the insurance companies. Um, Not a lot of people realize this too, but companies, with all the cash flows that they have, companies invest in other companies.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't we looking at it a couple months back, Mike, where we saw like the top 10 holdings of like NVIDIA, and like they own Meta, they own Amazon, they own Microsoft. I mean,
Right.
it was like they're owning the who's who in the rest of tech.
Right. And the
So,
QQQ, a lot of those companies on their
yes,
balance sheet own a bunch.
they own the market
They're owning their
themselves.
own stock. Yeah.
But they themselves are institutional investor anyway. You just don't realize that much. It's just, but when we see these volumes, it's not exactly Tom and Harriet down around the corner in the circle
Right.
that are moving markets. It's these institutions. But one that just popped out for me, Mike, and there's several obviously, but you know Mercado Libre, MELI, is a South American headquartered. It's an 800-pound gorilla in the e-commerce. Basically, they're the Amazon of multiple countries, so basically Latin America, and
Right.
they're just consolidating right here. But when news that of a very big country that this basically dictator's been removed. I mean, it's up today and it's up on big volume. And
Mm-hmm.
why I'm mentioning it, Mike, is because it's easy to look at a stock like that. What's a $2,200? I'm looking at it right now. It's up $234. See, it's up 12%. It's
Mm-hmm.
a $2,200 stock. And
Right.
immediately that can just like, oh, well, that's for other people. I can't afford that. But just wanted to reiterate, like with a strategy like the money press, and compare this if you wanted to do anything with the stock, you'd have to have at least 100 shares. So that's a $250,000 position.
Right.
But with the money press, just to reiterate that we're doing it on a stock, but we don't have to own shares of the stock. We can do the money press strategy, which is selling a weekly put, and then we buy an out of the money put, and that's underneath it for protection. But what we're aiming to do, of course, is sell a weekly, in the case of the money press, a weekly put. It all ties and depends on Melly, MELI. I call it Melly. When it doesn't act well, I call it smelly, but that's just a little inside joke. So it's been smelly for some months here, but it's not smelly today. Okay. But I was just looking at the option chain on it, and anyway, basically, in this case, yeah, it still might be out of the range for a lot of people, but to do like a one contract money press on Melly,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it might be $10,000, $11,000,
Right.
but compare that to $250,000, and now it's just like, oh my gosh, like I mean, most people can get their head around 10 or 11,000, and in the vast majority of money presses, Mike, we know that people can start a one contract position on, I don't know, maybe like Twilio, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and it's several $1,000s.
Right.
Very doable is what my point is. So here's this Melly, like, oh, I can never do it. That's those institutions. But you can do it for way cheaper compared to what the world's doing is, moving the stock around. And
Right.
$2,200 a share could just look undoable, but for a lot of people maybe listening, it's doable with the money press.
Yeah, and that's just to add to that, that's the beauty of options is it brings some of these stocks that you might not be able to trade with your trading account, with your capital, it brings those into reach. So our money press, like you said, maybe $100 stock, instead of going and investing, if you're trying to buy 100 shares, you wanted to do maybe a covered call,
Mm-hmm.
right? Instead of going out and spending $10,000 to buy the stock, we could build a money press using our strategy that's controlling 100 shares, and it might
Mm-hmm.
cost 1,500 dollars to build a money press on that type of stock where we still have pretty much the same income potential, if not more, is a covered call strategy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where you're selling a call on your $10,000 stock position, we can generate the same type of weekly income on a $1,500 or maybe $2,000 position on that same stock, controlling that same 100 shares, having that same type of income, weekly income potential on that same exact stock. So that's why we love options. It's fun to teach. Can be incredibly lucrative, but for someone starting with a couple $1,000 trading account, it
Mm-hmm.
just brings all of these opportunities to where it's available to you. You can actually go out and trade stocks like that. So if you don't know about our money press strategy, you got to check it out. We give you a free book, just cover the shipping. So let me throw this URL up on the screen if we could, but it's freemoneypressbook.com if you want to go start your New Year's with really understanding this money press trading strategy. Again, that's freemoneypressbook.com, and you can go grab that copy. Just pay for the shipping, handling. We'll send that out to you. See if that money press is a good fit for you, because we've seen it, Preston. I mean, as you've been really, I mean, Trader's Edge was founded in 2003. We've been helping people learn how to trade options, since 2003, well over 2 decades now. But this money press, it became your bread and butter back in about 2010, 2011, right? When weekly options
Yeah,
started to become more and more available on many more stocks. So
they got
that's really,
introduced in the spring. I'd like to know the exact day, but it's basically the spring of 2010. It kept me up in a good way. It kept me up late nights. Yeah, tinkering around with it. Yeah, it was incredible. I just got to share that. Let me just share this. I got this is my first text today, Mike.
yeah,
This from this Coach Tom guy, and I'm surprised this with usually have this like up on the screen, but he's outside of Philly. He's a football coach. Thank you. This money press and your coaching has changed my life. That was my first text today. I mean, that does
I love
not suck to hear that. Can I just say too, not to, like, oh, Millie, it's just Millie. No, I got another one to share too. But a money press in Melly for selling at the money puts for just the rest of this week, one contract, $4,000, Mike.
Wow.
4,000. What do we hear from people? It doesn't matter what city we go to, what time of year. We just hear this over and over that if just in general, if people had an extra $3,000 to $5,000 a month,
Mm-hmm.
they could make that decision to retire. That would that's the extra little amount. Man, if we just could make an extra 3 to 5, I would sell that business. They're figuring, hey, what pension do I have? What does my wife have? What's Social Security going to be? What's this annuity going to be? This, that, and the other. But if there's an extra 3 to 5, they could make that big decision.
Right.
And the money press can do that, and it is doing it for people in spades.
Yeah, definitely. Good stuff. Well, Preston, I know you wanted to share one other stock. Before we
Yeah,
jump into that, let's talk about this upcoming week. So
yeah,
we're kind of back, right? The government shut down, threw a wrench into some of these economic reports. We're kind of getting back on a normal schedule. So the first Friday of the month is always the employment report, the jobs report. So obviously they didn't do it last week with the holiday, but so this Friday we have the employment report. They talk about the unemployment rate. So that's a biggie to watch on Friday. It comes out an hour before the market opens. So, of course, is you've probably been following the Fed, the interest rate cuts that they've made over the last few meetings. A big point that they keep talking about is the job market. They're trying to
yeah,
balance inflation. They're trying to keep the job market healthy. So that's always a big kind of significant economic report, but especially so is the interest rate. The Fed monetary policy
yeah.
is being tied to that. So definitely keep an eye on that Friday morning. But then even Wednesday, we have ADP, the big payroll company, comes out with their numbers, which isn't the formal government report, but that hits on Wednesday.
Mhm.
There's the ISM services index and some services data, which can kind of be tied into just the economic pace that comes out on Wednesday. So we have a little bit of some economic news hitting Wednesday. And then of course the biggie is on Friday. Then Preston, I know you're always looking at the Consumer Electronics Show, the CES
Right.
show, which is always kind of there's going to be some headlines that come out
It's
of
just
that,
headlines and news. Yeah, for
and
sure.
that's this week as well. So a few things to just keep your eye on, be aware of. It can bring some volatility. So always important to have those on your radar. And then Preston, on the earnings front, anything you've got your eye on. Earnings season, right, usually hits about middle of January, so we're a couple weeks out from that.
Yeah.
But we're going to start seeing the earnings ramp up here. So any earnings this week that you've got an eye on?
Yeah, and just to add that for some reason, and maybe because, well, let me just say this: on Friday, in addition to the unemployment rate. I mean, briefing.com is lighting up high trading impact also on building permits and housing starts that are coming out. There's a University of Michigan sentiment survey. This is all on Friday. I mean, non-farm payrolls, all of that, the unemployment rate, lots of news that they're lighting up that could potentially have high trading impact for the market. This week, I mentioned this on my update. It's a company that's newer, and they have a lot of volume coming for it. I really like it for a leap. It's just basically a long-term option. I just like it. It's APLD. They're announcing earnings this week, so we don't know what it's going to do over earnings. I just like it in a broader context. And I also noticed that STZ, which is we might have to edit this right here. I can't
Constellation
believe I
Brands.
don't. What?
Constellation Brands.
Oh my gosh, STZ. Anyway, they own Modelo and Corona, and the thing is, I think here I'm in North County, San Diego. I mean, there's a lot of taco shops, a lot of beer, but in the aggregate, Mike, I think the studies are showing that people are not drinking as much,
Yeah.
and it's hitting the likes of STZ, which actually is an investment of Berkshire Hathaway right now. But we'll have to see what they do over earnings. They do have weekly options. If they get over earnings and have the surprise factor that we like to see, that's what we could term a setup, which would give us reason to look at it for a potential money press, but not until we get earnings out. We don't like guessing
Right.
what something's going to, we don't like guessing earnings. We like to see how the crowd reacts and then consider a trade after.
Yep, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
always good insight. Know your earnings dates. We hate starting a position right before it. It's just feels too much like gambling.
Mhm.
Even if you're building a money press around it, you have one rough week. It can be tough to recover. Repair that strategy. So if we have at least 4 or 5 weeks before earnings, that's when we don't mind starting a money press on it. But you're inside, you only have 2 or 3 weeks. It's just too close to that. So
Right.
definitely one to keep an eye on. Now, Preston, I know you said you had one other stock
Uh-huh.
you wanted to share.
Yeah,
So, got a
let's
fun
throw up.
story.
Mhm.
A fun story from Tom. We'll sign off with. We like to keep everyone motivated, help people hear from the success of our Traders Edge network, community, and family. So we'll share that before we sign off. But I don't want to steal your thunder. Go ahead with
No,
this.
no, just another one that just caught my eye this morning. The ticker is AXON. Axon. This is the maker. They've been in a slump. This one can get really trendy, and then you can see that it's really fallen off here. But what they make, Mike, is the tasers, the body cam, all of that. Paraphernalia. They're the top ones. I mean, for the police departments, probably it's hitting today because of the unrest and maybe the added security that like a Venezuela needs or just what our military needs. But it's really popping today. It has weekly options.
Mm-hmm.
This is news like what we've had over the weekend that changes things. Um, and certain stocks, it changes more. Now, this is not an earnings announcement. This is just things were different before the weekend. They're different today on a Monday for certain stocks. And for this one, it changes things. So I really, this perks me straight up in my chair to have me consider doing a strategy on an AXON.
Yeah, and you
Because
can
like I
see
said,
from the technical side, right? It's kind of it's trying to reverse out of that downtrend,
yeah,
have a higher high, higher low going on there.
totally.
So little technical reversal that's trying to happen on that as well for our technical analysis.
And another company that's in the $500 and $600 that could look like, oh, that's for other people. With the money press, it's drastically different on the requirement side. What you need to
Mm,
be able to do to be able to crank weekly income on something like this.
yeah, love
So
it.
it's never a dull moment, Mike.
Never. Well, good stuff. I think we set people off on a good footing here to start the first full trading week of the year. So let's share Tom's little story that he shared with us. So Tom said, I started Preston a couple years ago, got some things in order. So it looks like he took a little hiatus from trading. He's back. Said he got Brandon's watch list, studied how to use it, then joined the Wow Insider. So the Wow Insider is where Preston is sharing some of his actual live trades that he's placing in his own accounts. So if you're learning the money press, you're wanting to follow along, it's just a great way to get your feet underneath you, learning options, learning the money press trading strategy. But he said he jumped right in, picked about 3 trades from Brandon's list that are still going and profitable. Also followed you, Preston, on a few trades. Said he made 252 on DAL and then 538 on Lulu. He said the 2 key things I've learned are, number one is to never trade during the first 2 hours of trading. Preston, you talk about that. That first hour can kind of be amateur hour where there's just a lot of volatility and things like that. He said number 2, he likes to wait until about 2:30 on Fridays to roll some of these trades that are utilizing the weekly options, have those Friday expirations. So I could say a lot more, but this method is a real fun and safe way to trade. And that's what we love. These, like you said, Preston, that 3 to 5,000 a month can be life changing for a lot of people. And you can see sometimes just, and of course, we don't know what Tom was starting with. If it was a few $1,000s or a few 100,000, whatever his trading
Right.
account was, starting to see the results, and then you can build your positions from there. You can really start to crank it up and really push that income potential up nicely. But you get a few weeks and start getting comfortable with how the strategy works, how you can manage and adjust these, and then really the sky's the limit on what kind of results you can see. So fun.
Well, that's
Thanks,
really
Tom,
fun.
for sharing that.
Absolutely. And I can't help but add, here I'm in the Pacific time zone. You wouldn't want to wait till 2:30 on Fridays here in California to trade on a Friday because the market closes at 1. So I would imagine his time zone would be Central or Eastern, but he's probably
Definitely.
saying rolling it later in the day on Friday.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm guessing he's Eastern time zone. So good stuff. So thanks, Tom, for sending that in, sharing it. Preston, I appreciate your insights like always. We're excited for the new year and a lot of fun here at Trader's Edge. We've just got a lot lined up that we're excited about, and we think it's going to be another really fun, profitable year.
So excited for 2026. Absolutely. Yeah, this is fun, Mike. Thanks for all you do and making these fog cutters great. I feel like the fog is cut here with a sunny day. The first one. I might have to grow out my facial hair, Mike.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you go get breakfast. I'm going to go get lunch here on the Eastern time zone.
Right.
Thanks, everyone. We will see you next week. And we're excited for a fun and prosperous 2026, a great trading year to come.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
Take care.